The music industry is very segregated. We literally had divisions called the Black Division.
Urban now.
Yeah, it's urban now, but it was literally called the Black Division. And Black people in the music industry, there are very few Black people that have made money off the white side. White people by 2040 are going to be the minority in the US for the first time since they came and killed off all the Native Americans when they were the minority here, and then they became the majority. Not here, but in the US. For the first time, they're really scared. You say you're, what did she say? I'm Kanye West's cousin to get women to sleep with you. And she says like all this crazy shit. And she mentions my name. And I'm like, yo, I'm the good dude. I'm the OG. I'm the old guy.
Wait. You're not Kanye West's cousin? You wouldn't believe it, man. We tried to cut the episode short and call it a day, but the conversations were still too hot off camera.
We were still talking, after camera, like for 30 minutes.
But like, let's fire them up again. Every other time with Erica back, Troy White still in the building.
I love this.
This has been amazing. So let's just pick it up.
Yes, sir.
You're telling me some very interesting things about the music industry, and I think we didn't delve enough into that transition when we're moving from physical copy to digital copy and everything that was attached to that. How did the music industry adapt? Because we briefly mentioned Napster. Napster came and shook things up. You got to see that firsthand.
Yes.
What happened?
So what happened, I would say the music industry is very segregated. We literally had divisions called the Black Division.
Urban now.
Yeah, it's urban now, but it was literally called the Black Division. And the other division wasn't the White Division, but it was like the Rock Division. And Black people in the music industry, there are very few Black people that have made money off the white side. So you couldn't cross those borders. But it was funny, like white people could work on the Black Division side, but Black people couldn't work on the White Division side.
In what capacity?
It's like the same thing. Like now there are a few, like Maurice Starr had New Kids on the Block. He managed and was one of the first Black guys to manage like a big white group. But damn near 90% of Black artists had white managers. You know,
is that a sense of feeling like the white guy has better business acumen?
My father used to say, and this isn't his my stepfather, it isn't his saying, but it's kind of like a Black saying, like the white man's ice is colder. So if a white guy's selling ice and a Black guy's selling ice is ice. It's all at the same temperature. People will go to the white man's ice because they just think it's colder, you know, and then the Black guy's just standing there like, yo, my ice is just as cold as his ice.
So that's like a mental colonization.
It's a mental, that whole mental thing that we talked about, how they've mind freaked us in the world. Like, if you don't have a Jewish attorney, you're gonna go down. Yo, if you don't have a white manager, you're not going to be able to maneuver and operate.
And what is this idea around? Because I've seen so many stories, Fat Joe, among so many others, where guys got fleeced by business manager. And it has also happened to like NBA players, African Americans, NFL football stars. What is this idea around a business manager? Literally, for context to people watching, that's just a refined name of giving someone access to your money and trusting
that they're going to do right with your money.
What? That's crazy. That's crazy. So what was many people fell victim to that?
It's funny because it's not funny, but it's just using it as a term. You'll have an artist, and this is what we were talking about off camera. You have an artist from the hood, and he's going to have a manager. That manager is going to bring in his real estate friend or family member, bring in his car dealer manager, you know, or friend, family, his accountant who's family member or friend, his lawyer, who's a family member or friend, and all those people are going to eat off of that artist's, like, so the artist the label will get, 99 cent or 99 shillings, and the artist is going to get 1 shilling. That 1 shilling is going to be split up with 6 other people before the artist even gets a percentage of that 1 shilling. And that's why there's so many artists that are broke. When you watch those music videos and stuff like that, those artists don't own those cars and those houses and those boats and those jets and those helicopters. They don't own any of that stuff. All that stuff is rented. In the music industry, the one thing I love about it is that when we were talking about creative, and I didn't delve into it, we were taught to think out of the box. I firmly believe the best marketers came from the music industry. Because I mentioned to us, they were built in, finances for if you get locked up because you broke a rule. They were built in, finances and budgets for lawyers and fines and all that kind of stuff. You were taught to break rules, to make things happen. So they didn't want to hear, it didn't work. If you said that to your boss, he would say to you, all right, well, I'll get a motherfucker in here that can make shit happen. There are no excuses. So you had to think creatively on how to break a record, or how to make a program director add a record, or how to get on MTV when they only got 20 slots for videos and you got 6 records that you need on MTV. How are you going to make them play your shit? So you had to think out of the box and do things that may not have been legal, because it was a high turnover rate. If you can't make it, all right, cool. We got 20 people behind you that want your job.
What about the? Go
ahead.
Sorry, did you finish your point? Sorry.
No.
What about the willingness?
Get me back on track. I fell off.
What about the willingness of? Because a lot of artists are coming from maybe desperate situations, right? What about the willingness of said artist, apart from just being exploited from a lack of business acumen, in terms of some of the practices we hear about, even sexual exploitation? How rampant was that? How real is that?
Bro, you be asking.
Because historically, before your time, even in Hollywood, it's an open secret that some of these executive producers even had
it was a casting couch.
Casting couch.
They call
yes.
Yeah. Well, the same thing went on in the music business, entertainment business. I won't just talk about the music. I'll say entertainment business was like the Wild Wild West. Back then there was you didn't have this, so your activities, no one could ever prove that you did certain things. And record companies just cared about results. But that kind of openness and kind of like Wild Wild West, there's no rules, there was pros and cons to it. The pro was it made people creative. It made people go against the norms and just make unbelievable freaking music. The bad side of it was, because it was the 80s and 90s and there really weren't any rules, sexual activities may have... I'd say 90% of the sexual activities that took place would not be tolerated today. But were tolerated then.
Are these things you witnessed firsthand or heard about firsthand? Statute of limitations.
I would just say it was, but I won't just say then, like going through the 70s was like a sexual revolution. It's known, the 70s were known as the sexual revolution. 80s, people were kind of living off of that, you know, experiencing different things and trying different things and all that kind of stuff. And then the 90s was just such a hot era in entertainment, sports, movies, like everything was freaking hot in the 90s. Music was leading the world. Dude, freaking CDs and albums were like gold. You could give a cop, or I used to have these parties in Martha's Vineyard. It's a place where African Americans vacation.
That's a baller place.
Beautiful place. One of my favorite places in the world. And everybody that would have house parties would always get shut down because the white neighbors would be mad. There's a whole bunch of black people showing up at a particular house.
They're playing all this hippity hop.
Yeah, hippity hop. How do you even know that hippity hop? But I would literally send the cops before I would go, months before I got there. I would send them boxes of CDs and videos and T-shirts and all that kind of stuff. And then I would go visit them as soon as I got to the island and tell them, hey, listen, on Saturday, I'm having a party. And they're like, Troy, don't worry about it. Just, you know, clean up after, because people would leave my party and go to walk to their cars and leave like cups, stuff like that on the ground and stuff. So literally 7:00 in the morning, me and my boys are outside cleaning up everything, you know, so we didn't leave any trails. That there was a party. I never had a party shut down in Martha's Vineyard, and I had tons of them because CDs and music was like gold. You know, getting my favorite table at a restaurant that people couldn't get in, I could always get in because I would always be sending the owner CDs. You know, getting into any club in America, I knew all the hot club owners or promoters because I was always hooking them up with music.
Yeah.
So the doors would always open for me in anything because I worked in the music industry, and it was that powerful. From political to social to anything, CDs opened up doors.
And I want to touch on this same principle we touched on earlier around the kind of colonization of the psyche of a certain group of people, because historically we had East Coast, West Coast beef, and we've never had like rock bands going at each other, like Blink-182 goes versus like,
Kids Coldplay.
Chris Martin threatens to shoot. So why? I mean, this is a time where hip hop was at its somewhat prime in terms of quality.
You see my hands?
Yeah, money,
bro.
But rockstars make money too.
It's
white rockstars.
Nah. You know, marketing for us and making shit hot is different than marketing for them folks. You know, our stuff always has to have some gravitas to it, some friction, some energy, some beef to make it hot. So it was perfect to literally have people believe in a territory that they don't own shit in.
My block.
You don't own your block. There's some person that doesn't look like you that owns that block. You're just living there. But they make you believe that that block is yours and you got to fight for it. So they made a whole, like I was at the Source Awards.
The infamous Suge?
The infamous
Put
joint.
Suge on the screen, man.
I was there that night when he got on stage with Snoop, and I have some good Suge stories.
If you don't want all these people dancing in your music videos,
wearing shiny suits and all, and the energy that went through that room when he said that, I was like, oh shit, it's about to be a riot in here. But I know Suge's a very smart man. He's not just like a gangster, ignorant dude. He went to college.
Yes.
People don't realize that. He got a degree. Like he played college football.
Mentored by Jimmy Iovine.
Yes, he's very smart cat. And if you watch this, Suge, God bless you. Little short side note to Suge. We were in New Orleans. There used to be this huge record industry convention called BRE, Black Radio Exclusive. And at the time, I had just finished Snoop's Deep Cover record, which was Snoop's first record. Snoop's best record was his first record.
Okay.
People don't understand that. Please get me back on track because I'm about to really go off track. The first West Coast record, because back in the day, in New York and all throughout the States, it was New York rappers that got radio airplay. And then like artists like Will Smith, and Jazzy Jeff also got played out of Philly. But New York rap held it, not Southern rap, not West Coast rap, nothing. So Epic, the label that I was on, signed a bunch of West Coast artists. We signed Snoop to do for the Deep Cover, great movie to check out. I'm sure have you ever seen the Deep Cover movie?
Deep Cover.
Oh, great freaking gangster movie. So it was called Deep Cover, and Snoop, Dre produced this record. It was a white movie actually, but it was in the hood. Like a gangster white movie with some stuff that went on in it. And Snoop did Deep Cover. That was the first West Coast record to ever get played on the East Coast. Now, this is before, and I did the marketing for it. This is before there was social media. The thing that opened it up was Public Enemy, one of the greatest rap groups of all time. And shout out to Chuck D and Flav. I did marketing for their first 2 albums.
Flavor Flav!
Yeah, boy!
Yeah, legendary stuff.
Came out in the legendary Apollo, which is the #1 theater in the world when it comes to black talent.
Live at the Apollo.
Chuck D and Public Enemy came out on stage to Deep Cover, which was I get these chills because I get so emotional. People talked about that. There was no social media, but that shit spread it like wildfire through the country because people were talking about like, yo, Public Enemy came out to this West Coast rapper named Snoop to this record called Deep Cover. And then when I went to like the legendary hip hop radio cats like Red Alert, Chuck Chill Out, Mr. Magic, what's my guys? Teddy Ted. I'm trying to think all the big rap New York radio cats. When I played the record for them after Chuck and them came out for it, they were like, yo, this shit is amazing. Like, we gotta play this shit. If Public Enemy's coming out on stage to this beat, we gotta get on it. And that opened up the whole pathway for West Coast records to be played on the East Coast. That Deep Cover Snoop record was the pioneer record to get West Coast music played on the East Coast.
And East Coast for the longest time like you said, were holding hip hop up. But since then, times have changed. Like,
oh yeah, it's global. Like
global.
I said, I don't know if now I'm mixing up. I don't know what we said on the podcast and what we said off the podcast. So I might repeat myself. But we were talking about Afrobeats. And I remember, did I say that off camera or?
Off camera.
Okay. I remember 9 years ago, I went to a good friend of mine. Shout out to DJ Cozy in New York, one of my favorite DJs. I went to a party that he was hosting, and I'm on stage with him. And he was like, he winked at me. He's like, yo, watch this. And he played 2 or 3 Afrobeat records, and no one left the floor. And I've been going to clubs as part of my job my entire life. I'd never heard an African artist played in any club in the US, ever. And no one left the floor. And I was like, oh shit.
It's a new day.
This is amazing. And then afterwards we went out and had some drinks. I was like, yo, how long you been playing like African music? And it was literally, people weren't saying Afrobeats. They were saying African music.
African music.
He's like, I don't know, like the past 6 months, like people have been requesting it. And this is like 9 years ago. And I was living in Kenya, but I was visiting in New York. He's like, people literally been requesting. And these are people who've never been to Africa. They have no ties other than through their great grandparents who used to be slaves that were from West Africa.
So what about the music, you think? Is it the natural beat and the African thing?
It speaks to our soul. All music that we create, like we created jazz, like it was with Wynton last night, one of the greatest jazz musicians alive. When you're listening to jazz, you can feel that shit in your soul.
That's true.
Jazz beget blues. You feel blues in your soul. Blues beget rock and roll. We created rock and roll, not white people. Elvis Presley didn't create rock and roll. We did. Chuck Berry, Fats Domino, I'm missing someone, created rock and roll. And then they took over it. And their white artists like Pat Boone started covering Chuck Berry songs, and he made 100 times more money than Chuck Berry did covering his songs.
Off the source.
The Beatles was covering Jimi Hendrix songs, the greatest guitarist of all time, one of my favorite artists. We created that. R&B, then hip hop. Like, we created all of those genres. Those genres have soul. They talk to you. You can feel it. It's why I like house music. Like, when you ever, my son and I, we went to this, there's this thing called Sunday Sermon that takes place in New York, particularly in Brooklyn and Harlem, in the summertime on a Sunday, and it's called Sunday Sermon, and it's like around 1:00 it starts and it goes throughout the night, where they bring in all these house DJs. And I love house music because it touches your soul. And I'm not talking about that EDM shit.
You can't help
or
but
that
move.
shit. And for y'all that like that God bless you. But
shout out Gen Zs and their ounce.
It's soulless. But true house music, you feel it in your soul. So we're watching a bunch, like 1,000 people dance. My son and I were sitting on a bench, and I'm like, Troy, look at this. Now, mind you, we were living in Nairobi and we're visiting New York. And I was like, it came to me, I said, house music is the most tribal music in the world. I said, Troy, look at how these people are dancing. I said, it's literally like we could go back 300 years, and this is how the tribal people would be dancing around a campfire for a celebration of a man's,
you can feel it.
Of a man's manhood.
It's true.
Or a wedding or something like. You look at how they're dancing. Not even hip hop, the way you dance in hip hop. I think house music dancing is even more tribal.
It tells out African, that's swagger.
Like, it's you can, and I was like, 99% of these people have never been to Africa, but it's in us to dance and to move like this. I've seen African tribal dancing, and I was just like, this is freaking amazing. How just things are in our blood. It's in our DNA to move, to speak, to vibe, create energy that's global, that affects the world. That's the magic of this melanin.
You said you have some Suge stories.
They're good stories though. Like one great story is I got sidetracked. I was talking about BRE, the conference. Big music industry conference. So in Philly, we use the word cuz as a word. It's not a gang term. It's not
cuz. Hey cuz, what's up, cuz? You know time it is, cuz.
It's a term of endearment.
Okay.
Like my brother. Everybody's cuz. I don't know if the young people in Philly still associate and use that, but growing up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and 90s, it was cuz. I walk up to him in the middle, literally, like in the middle of this, I think it was the Hyatt or the Marriott Hotel. And he's like, Troy. I'm like, yo, what's up, cuz? And he's a big dude.
Big dude.
He put his hand on my chest and pushed me back. And then like 50 motherfuckers just jumped out of nowhere. and surrounded me.
Gorillas.
Literally, like, and he says to me, he's like, yo, motherfucker, what did I tell you about that cuz shit? Because you can't approach your blood. I mean, a Crip or blood.
Probably
He's a blood. Crips use cuz. And I approached him with that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I'm sorry. And I'm looking at all these cats. I had my hands out like this. I was like, yo, I'm sorry. I was like, you know I'm from Philly and shit. And we use cuz.
Yeah.
It's a term of endearment. He's like, yo, but I told you about that shit. I was like, yeah, I know. I forgot. I'm sorry. And then he looked at his guys. And he's like, yo.
Stand down.
Back down. But I literally was about to die. You know, there was several times in the music industry where I was put in some precarious situations where, because I'm a peace guy and because I do have the ability to put out fires, I was able to save some lives.
Through mediation.
Yeah, through mediation.
Guys,
Yeah.
come on, man. Nobody gotta die, man. But Suge was like a mythical figure, man.
Smart cat.
Suge was a scary
But
cat.
he was able to take street knowledge and education. That's the best combination in the world to have.
I have a clip saying that.
If I have a choice of hiring a kid who has 2.5 average, that's like a solid C, but he has street knowledge, and pick a kid that has a 4.0 that has no street knowledge, I'll take that 2.5 kid that has street knowledge over the 4.0. Not that you should not work to get a 4.0 kids out there. You always work for that 4.0. But I'll take the street knowledge kid with the 2.5 any day because he's not going to crack.
He's resourceful.
He's not going to crumble. He's going to be very creative. He's going to know how to deal with people and different personalities. You know, if he's asked to work 72 hours straight with no sleep, he's not going to bitch and complain and be like, He's going to know what to do, and he's going to know how to battle.
He's going to break a few rules here and there.
Yeah, he's going to break a few rules to get it done.
Yeah.
He's going to have hustle to him.
But all of these undertones speak to how powerful African American or I'll say Black culture was and is. Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, this was not reflected in terms of like leadership and politics. And I remember last weekend, I even told my wife about this story. I was sitting with Troy and Fab Five in the living room after the podcast. And of course, Mr. Obama came up. And of course, I have my thoughts about Obama. You guys were strong defenders of Obama. So how important was Obama's entry into the whole ether of America for African Americans?
So I was blessed to work on his senatorial campaign when he was raising money to run for Senate of Illinois. And the funny thing is that in my heart and mind, and I don't mind saying when I'm wrong, because you learn from those things. And you should be able to say that there are times when you're wrong. In my head, I was like, Barack Hussein Obama running for Senate of Illinois. I was like, he might win Cabrini Green. Cabrini Green is the biggest project building in all of Chicago. He'll win the hood, but Illinois is more white than black. You just think of Chicago, yeah, it's a black city, but Chicago is just a blip in all of Illinois.
The white Illinois, yeah.
Which is majority white. But then after meeting him, this is when he had all black hair, young face.
Mr. Troy White, how are you doing?
Yeah, that was really freaking good. I don't know how you pulled that out. And meeting with him and vibing at the first event we had for him in New York to raise money, and how he just worked the room and was laughing and warm and smart as shit. You know, he is known to be, and there are people who like grade people's intelligence in office, and no one ever says this. He's known to be the smartest president we've ever had. It'll never come out, but the people who do these type of studies and their reactions and things like they grade you.
Definitely smarter than Bush.
He's the smartest Obama, the smartest president the United States has ever had. So raise money for him in New York, Philadelphia, and DC, my strongholds. He ends up winning his senatorial campaign. Because he was the rock star, after he did the Democratic National Convention, he spoke. He's one of the keynote speakers, and he's a great orator.
Amazing.
Amazing orator.
Can't take that from me, man.
He makes black people look good. After doing that, he became the rock star. So this is something about American politics that's kind of fly. He raised money for this thing called a Hope Fund that he had, where since he was the rock star, he could go around America, have these fundraisers, and then he would use that money to give to other Democrats that were running for either Senate or running for mayor or governor. Smart man. A lot of these people were Clinton fans. But when he decided to run for president and then he went against Hillary Clinton, he actually ended up getting the majority of Clinton supporters because he had given lots of people money. It was it's not paying them off. It's a part of American politics. Yeah. You're supporting their campaigns. And he was smart. Like he thought the game out when he never told anyone, but when he was running for Senate, he knew that eventually he wanted to run for president. Like he knew it, he saw it, he envisioned it. And lots of people were like, wow, how'd this person go from a diehard Clinton person to an Obama supporter? And he got a lot of support from politicians when he was running against Hillary. But he had his game plan intelligently put out. Now, once president for those 8 years, my negative things on him was I really wish that, well, first of all, I cried literally for damn near a couple months.
When he won.
Because I honestly didn't believe the system was going to allow a black man to be president.
So what did that mean?
And my mother, my father, my aunts and uncles, every black person I knew was emotionally fucked up.
So it had a strong impact on the psyche of African Americans?
Shit. Like, things are getting better. Like, and this is where I can bring this into the letdown, because it was almost like a post-racial kind of situation. Like, if the system is going to allow a black man to be president, then, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do that. Maybe I can start this business. Maybe I can get into this college. It literally was a shot of, and people don't give Obama enough credit for this, to the psyche of African Americans, where it made us feel like, oh shit, this is our shit now. The way the white people feel like America is theirs. Like when I go to football games, and this is American football, I'm not big into soccer. But when you stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance, I'll stand, but I never put my hand over my heart. Never. Because I never felt like, even though I was blessed to live a very privileged life in America, I always felt like I should have had more and my people should have more. So even though I'm doing well, lots of my family members aren't. Lots of my friends aren't. Lots of my people aren't. So freak me in my condition. What about them? So I never felt like America was mine. I never felt that white feeling of this shit is mine. So I would never put my hand over my heart. And I used to tailgate with a lot of white people, my father and I.
Tailgating looks like a lot of fun. Man.
Yeah, tailgating is great. That's when you party before the game and all that kind of stuff, and after the game in the parking lot. So I was telling my white friends that day, I was like, yo, guess what I'm gonna do today? And they're like, what? I was like, I'm gonna put my hand over my heart. And they're like, you don't put your hand over your heart? I was like, nah. They're like, why? I was like, because I always felt like this country is yours, not mine. I'm just here because I'm here. And I got to make the best of a fucked up situation. So I never felt like this country was mine. But today, I feel like you. And I'm looking them in the eyes. I'm like, I feel like you. Like, I feel like I got a stake in the game. Like, this country is mine too. No. And that's what Obama did. One of the positive things it did is that little black kids could be like, who are in the hood that have nothing, could finally look at the most powerful man in the world. And that man looks like them. And I think that has helped millions of black people to make them feel like, yo, I can do this shit.
But now, if it was that powerful in the psyche of the African American, what about the psyche of the white racists?
Ooh. I love how you because when you have that positive energy,
because
in that movement,
and I feel
it brings negative,
and I feel like that was never talked about because as you're telling these guys, I feel like imagine what some of them are thinking. Or like, oh no, these guys look at us like we're the same level. We can never be the same level.
Yes,
and don't you think that has had an inverse effect on how politics has panned out now? Make
sure I stay on track because there's a lot of things that went through my head just now. Shout out to Pastor Dr. Raphael Warnock, who's a senator in Atlanta, one of the first black senators ever in Atlanta, Georgia. He's a pastor, good friend of mine. He was in my house the night of the election because he was a junior pastor at Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem.
This is when Obama won now?
Yes, this is when Obama won.
All right.
And he broke it down to me, and this is a great word because I didn't even know what this word meant. Kairos. I was like, because we're all crying. Like, everybody in my house was crying. I had like 50 people in my house. We had an election party. It's like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and everyone's just boo-hooing because we can't believe this shit happened and that America was going to change. And he broke it down. He said, the reason why this happened, it was a Kairos moment. Kairos means something happens because something else happened. It's like a cause and effect. Because we went through Bush, which was at the time noted to be the worst president ever we had. And Bush had 2 terms, 8 years. And he put
one stolen.
He what'd you say?
One stolen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, when he made that call, like, yo, you're my brother, you're the governor, straighten this shit out.
Straighten this shit out. And we have a
straighten
winner.
This shit out. The winner is. I heard y'all had something like that here when all the electric went out one time and communications was dropped and all that kind of stuff.
Lights went off. lights came back on, and the guys
sworn in. Happens around the world. But it was a Kairos moment. If we don't have Bush, we don't have Obama because of the energy change. We don't have Trump
if we don't have
Obama. Another Kairos moment where white people understand that by 2040, and I learned this at a conference like 20 years ago it was on futurism that I went to in Philly, where they were talking about the demographics and how they're changing in the States and globally and how to market and prepare for those changes. White people by 2040 are going to be the minority in the US for the first time since they came and killed off all the Native Americans when they were the minority here, and then they became the majority. Not here, but in the US. For the first time, they're really scared. Trump, because they feel as though, and it's some deep shit, and it's just a human thing. It's not a white thing. It's a human thing. When you do bad to people, and then those people that you did bad to,
karma,
finally get the come up, and it's going to be more of them than you, all of a sudden your conscience is going to be like, oh shit, they're going to do the same thing to us that we did to them. So they're scared because they think, but personally, I think like we were talking about things that are in your nature. I don't think that we're those type of people. God hasn't placed that in our spirits and souls. It's why Columbus didn't discover America. Africans were trading with Native Americans for probably like 200 years before any white person ever came to that continent. But because of the way that we move, we go to people's places and we're like, I love your place. I love trading with you. Great. Maybe some of us will stay. That's why there's like this thing. I suck with, what do you call it when you abbreviate things? FBA and all these different terminologies that this new generation has created. Foundational Black Americans and all that kind of stuff. Like, because there were Africans who stayed in America because they were like, yo, this shit is dope. Like, I like this spot and I love the Native Americans and we cool. But they never thought like, yo, let's come over here by droves and take their shit.
And kill everyone.
And kill everybody. Because it's not in us to be that way. The same way like so many white people were able to come to this beautiful continent. And Africans were like, hey, yeah, come on in. Shit, we cool. Da, 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 da.
But moving away from the psyche, because we, even us in Kenya, are victims of the psyche thing, where in our country it's tribe, you know. So if my guy, my tribesman is in power, in my psyche, it's good for me, as opposed to what this guy is actually doing. So with Obama moving from the psyche and the net positive effect it had on African Americans in terms of possibilities, what about the actions that he took whilst in power? A lot now is being questioned around his kind of leadership.
When he took over, and people never talk about this, America was about to go into the worst depression. It would have been worse than the original depression that we had in like the 40s.
1929.
Yeah, 29. Sorry, you're smarter than I am. Worse than that, and way worse. The car industry was about to pop. The Wall Street was about to pop. The banking industry was about to go under. America was in the worst, and that's all from George Bush's terms, 8 terms. America was in a horrible place. And it's funny, whenever Black people take over, we always get shit when the things are the worst. If we buy a sports team, it's always the worst sports team, and then we got to bring it up.
Deion Sanders.
You know, like Colorado sucked. Now they're on everybody's, you know, it's just what happens. He was able to save America. Yeah, I really wish he would have put in more programs that were good for African Americans and looked out for Black folks a little more than was done. But I still believe, and then there were a couple things like political issues that he went about in regards to certain places that were bombed and certain leaders that were thrown out in other countries and all that kind of stuff that went on, that just goes on, and it's something that America does.
Talk about Libya and Gaddafi.
I literally didn't want to mention that because I like what Gaddafi was doing, you know, and I like his thought process, and I love the fact that he was trying to create a unified Africa and a unified currency.
The mistake he made was going to the UN and saying that publicly. He rubbished the UN Charter. Even I think he tore it or he dropped it, and he went and said, you know what? Us guys are going to come together and create a common currency. It's like, we have some of the biggest gold reserves. We're going to back it in Libya. And they're like, huh? Say what now? They're like, say what now? Hillary Clinton or someone like, huh? Say what now? Then next thing, a few years later, we came, he saw, he died. And some crazy things she said.
Yes, we came. We saw, he died. Did it have anything to do with your visit? No, I'm sure it did.
The inhumaneness in which she talked about how they went about Libya, and now Libya is pretty much a failed state since. Libya was a functioning country.
They had tons of per capita, more doctors than anybody.
They were giving out. I was in air school with some of my Libyan friends. Shout out Munir Sadawi. Those guys were living all right, man.
Yes.
And
free education, free healthcare.
You get married, you get a bag. For first child, you get a bag. It was a different time. And what the Obama, let me just say, Obama administration did was terrible, man. And the effects are still felt till today.
I personally believe in, some people in the comments can jump on me about that, about what I'm about to say, but there were things that he had to do that I think that he didn't want to do. Because when you're the president, you're the president, but it's all kinds of people behind the scenes that you don't know about. I don't know about. Nobody knows about. That are really pulling the strings.
The man in the black suits, they say.
That was like, all right, listen, this is what's got to go down. For America's sake, it's always that. For America's sake, for the betterment of America, that cat over there, he got to go down. So if you need the rest of your stuff to pass through that you're trying to do, whatever, he got to go down. So this is what you got to do. It was almost like Bush during the whole 9/11 shit, which we can have a whole conversation about.
That's a whole episode.
I literally think like people behind the scenes was like, all right, look, there's no proof that these cats did this shit, but we need to do this for particular reasons.
The vice president during Bush's tenure, Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney was the former CEO of Halliburton. Got hired,
made billions,
negotiated being the vice president before the fact. These guys pre-planned this thing.
What were we talking about? I told you, 50 years ahead,
and got the contract to rebuild all these places that they bombed. With man, it's such a crazy thing. But I wanna go somewhere. And I keep feeling like you're scared to go there with me. And I want you to go there with me because you are there. I want to talk about occult practices in the music industry. Because I feel like where there's smoke, there's fire. We can't have had all... It sips water. We can't have had all these things. I mean, Michael Jackson tried to tell us in his own way in certain music videos. People have talked about this time immemorial. Bob Dylan, famously on 60 Minutes, talks about how
with Ed Bradley,
he made
the greatest,
amazing guy,
interviewers of all time from Philly.
Made a deal with the devil,
the chief. He called him
the chief.
Yes.
And so what are these things we hear of? What are these?
I personally believe. Okay, remember I told you I was protected. There are lots of things that I was privy to and that I saw. And then there are lots of things that I was either protected by God or protected by the people that he placed around me. Just off of my intuition, I can answer this question by saying this. Evil wants his hands in everything. Any way it can influence people, it's going to do it. I'll give you a great example. There's somebody who called me at one time when I was going through that issue that I was talking about, those 4 years that I couldn't make money. Called me because I had a great relationship with all the clubs and the promoters in New York. Friend of mine called me. He was like, yo, there's this new drug that's out. If you can get us in the clubs, you can make X amount of dollars. All I need you to do is make the introductions, Troy. That's it. Make the introductions.
What's the new drug?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
For a hot second, I was like, whoa, it's a lot of money. I'm in a horrible situation. Then I thought about it. God didn't speak to me, but I thought about it. And I was like, for my benefit, I'm going to be fucking up some people's lives. That's not good.
Irreparably, yeah.
I was like, I didn't even think about the legal side of it. I thought about the moral side of it. I get this drug into these clubs. It's going to hurt people. I'm going to be destroying lives just so that I could feed my family. I thought about it for a hot second. I told him I'd call him back. I called him back in like 10 minutes. And it was like, boss, I can't do it. Can't do it. That's evil trying to get to me at a low point where I'm very vulnerable and use me. Getting back to the whole evil side of the entertainment business. It's a great place to be in because you're in a place where you can influence millions. So first, the majority of black people grew up in the church. We're Christians or we're Muslims. We don't really, during all that time, we didn't really play with that whole satanic stuff. That was literally rock and roll. There was lots of, like I remember Led Zeppelin, and this is no...
Even in blues?
Okay. Blues, yeah. Like Robert Johnson said, well, there's a myth that he went to the crossroads and gave his soul, made a cut a deal with the devil. But we weren't really known for messing with that whole type of energy because we grew up in the church. So we ran from that. It was the white guys in rock and roll that were playing around with that stuff, the Led Zeppelins, the Ozzy Osbournes, the Metallicas, like those groups, those heavy metal groups, those were known to be heavy in that type of stuff. And when they did videos, they would always put satanic images, and black people never did that stuff. Never put that stuff in their videos because we were scared. Like, I ain't playing with that. Like, we were taught.
Play with no devil, man.
I ain't playing with that stuff. Like, we ran from that stuff. I remember one time when I was at Howard's campus, this guy came to talk to us about music and religion. And one of my favorite songs at the time, because I loved rock and roll, was this song called Stairway to Heaven, one of the biggest songs ever created by Led Zeppelin. And he played, this is when there were albums, there was no CDs. So he played it backwards. Beautiful freaking song, like it's entrancing, like it will put you in a trance when you hear that song. And I loved that song, and he played it backwards. And they were saying dog, 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 which is God backwards. And then it said something like the devil is your savior. Satan, Satan, Satan.
There's many songs like that.
Like, and that's the shit that rock and roll cats was into. Black people didn't play in that shit. We didn't. Then all of a sudden, I don't know what it was, but I guess through marketing, because marketing is the chief, certain groups started, I guess the devil was like, yo, all right, we need to get to these black people. We got enough white people. Let's get to these black people and get it in the music. And there were certain groups like 3-6 Mafia and other groups that started kind of playing, what's that group out of Cleveland?
Not Bone Thugs.
My man. Wow.
Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Cats like Bone Thugs and stuff started playing on that whole dark magic stuff and putting it in their music videos and things. And it started like kind of catching on because the other people were like, oh, wow, they're getting a lot of controversy. Like, and in the music business, controversy is good.
So which is it? Is it real or is it
I think
marketing?
To me, when you play with that shit, it's real.
I think that's
because God, like I would never touch a Ouija board. You ain't supposed to play with that stuff.
Not at all.
Because you're dealing with spirits and entities that you don't even know about. So I run from that type of stuff. I don't want to play with it. I don't want to be around it. I'm covered by the blood of Jesus. That's what I know. That's what I'm messing with. I don't get into that stuff. But remember where I was talking about when people are desperate, that's the time. That's how you get to people. And then people are like, okay, now it's gotten to the point where people are like, let's put as much of that stuff in our music videos so it'll cause controversy. People will talk about it. They'll wonder about if I'm, satanic or not. And people are going to do, YouTube videos about it and talk about so-and-so satanic. And They don't realize, even if you're not satanic,
You're playing satanic games.
you're playing satanic games and you're messing around with that energy. And that energy is not to be played with. So you can't play with that stuff just to get people to do YouTube videos about you and wonder or not if you're a devil worshiper or not. It's nothing to play with.
I think that's what happened. And I remember, I think I said this on a different podcast. I was talking about Lil Nas X. You know Lil Nas X?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So he did exactly that. So he came in thinking it's play, mocking God, dancing with Satan, gay agenda. And then I think
those sneakers he made.
yeah, with blood. And
Yeah. With the satanic I was like, yo, what are you doing?
But I think now the spiritual realm was like, yo, man, you can't play like that. And if you're playing like that, you're inside.
Then you're going to be walking around naked in a diaper with some boots on, talking to yourself.
And I think that's exactly what happened. Like, he thought it was for play. You
can't play with
so
that stuff.
So people are thinking this whole walking out naked is a rollout. But it's not a rollout because nothing has come out of it. There's no music he sold. They got to him.
You can't play with that realm because you're dealing with energy that is more powerful than you. And I don't believe in playing. I run away. I don't even like calling deviled eggs, and I love deviled eggs. I don't even like calling deviled eggs.
So what is Troy White's God? What's your position on God? What's your philosophy? What are you?
Well, I'm a Christian. I'm a Baptist.
Okay.
And in gambling, I used to be a big gambler back in the day before I got married. I'm putting all my chips on God because I've seen
on
Christian God. I've seen how Jesus has worked in my life, how he's worked through my family members and friends and the miracles that have been created. My mom had breast cancer and stuff like that, and she made it through. So many different hundreds of things, incidences I've seen in life where God has been there for me, where a bunch of people went down and I didn't. So-and-so got shot, I didn't. So-and-so got their ass beat, I didn't. I'm not a gangster, but I started Sony's first rap division, and all of my clients, all my artists, the majority of them were gangsters. Some of their records didn't work. Some of them were very mad at me. But no one ever approached me. And back then, artists were infamous for coming up in record labels and tearing shit up and beating people's asses. That was commonplace.
Some of them used that to get out of their contracts,
Yeah. What? My record didn't reach number 1? All right, cool. Me and my boys coming up here tomorrow. Oh, what? I didn't get that budget for the music video I wanted to do? Bet. We coming, if we see you out, we fucking you up. It was very hands-on. Never, not one time. And it's not because I'm a tough guy. I can be if needed. But I'm more of the love guy.
Speaking of love, because in the previous segment you talked, of course, you got a bit emotional. And I want us to go in this trajectory about, of course, what happened to your marriage. And I proceeded to ask you, but off camera, about the dating scene. And having been in Kenya, 11 years? How has that been for you? Because you're a man. That's what we do, man. Are you single now, or are you?
Yes, I'm single.
How's the dating experience been in Kenya for you?
If I compare it to dating in the States, it's funny, and we talked about this. Dating in the 70s, because I dated in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and I'm saying the early actually that's a lie. I got married in 99, but knowing friends that were dating in the 2000s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, up to maybe about 2010, was beautiful in the States. I loved it. Some of my friends were traveling, the spot for guys that travel back then was either the DR, Dominican Republic, or Brazil. Those were 2 spots for single people to travel to in the 80s, 90s, stuff like that. And they loved those women. And my friends that spent money doing that, I was like, why are you doing that? Like, there's beautiful women in the States. It's freaking dating in the States is amazing. Like, I love this. It's beautiful. Any city you go to is just the experience. But dating back then was different.
You had to kick some game.
Like, I always say you had to work for it. And I'm not saying work for it in regards to buying women things. You had to work for it in regards to knowing how to talk to a woman, knowing how to relate to a woman, knowing how to listen to a woman, knowing body cues. I always said I wanted to do a book, and it's going to be a long title. What's wrong with this generation? They don't know how to slow dance.
Yeah.
And I tell you the importance of slow dancing. When I was growing up, you go to a party, men are over here, girls are over there. There was no bottle service. There was none of that crap. People sitting in VIP. Clubs were clubs. Basement parties were basement parties. There's always guys over here, girls over here. And then you walk across and then every club, every party, at one point of the night, normally around 12, 1 o'clock, they would play 2 to 4 slow songs. That was, you never went anywhere without hearing slow music. I'm talking about in a club.
Yeah.
You had to walk
Confidence.
across the room and everyone is watching. Your boys are like, she ain't gonna dance with your ass. You better keep your ass over here because you're about to get embarrassed. Like, you had to walk all the way across the room, ask a woman to dance, look her in the eyes, and then accept rejection.
I'm not dancing with you, Troy.
And not be like, well, I ain't want to dance with your ass anyway, bitch. Like, it was never, you never said, men didn't say those things.
You took it in the
back
chin.
in the day. You learned how to take rejection, not be hurt, and move on and ask somebody else to dance. Now, once you got that person to dance, this is some really deep psychology here. You're not dancing the way people dance now, where women just be bending over and doing all this kind of stuff.
Rubbing the ass on your loins.
A woman doing that to a dude she don't even know, right? He's grabbing her waist and, all that kind. That didn't happen back then. It happened doing slow dancing, but it was more intimate. Because when you put your right leg in between her legs and you have your hands on her back, you don't do anything else but just groove to the music. And you had to feel her energy. If she lowered her hand a little bit down your waist, then, all right, cool, I guess I can. If she pressed a little bit, you could press a little bit. If she put her face in your neck, you're like, she's comfortable.
I'm taking her home tonight.
Okay, all right, cool. I can kind of put my face in her neck. If she's moving that way, I move this way. Like, you're learning cues.
That's slow dancing.
People don't know cues these days. They don't know how to read. Men don't know how to read women these days. And we had to learn. Then you knew afterwards, I know I can get her number. If she wants to dance after this, like after the slow dancing, like they'll play one record and then they would blend it into another. If she didn't want to dance with you if she didn't like what happened, she'd be like, all right, this is good. Thank you. And she'd walk away. And then you go ask another chick. But if she liked it, she would stay with you and dance the other 2 or 3 slow songs. And then you're dancing with her. If you dance 3 slow songs with a chick, you got her the whole night. Now, after that, you're buying her a drink.
The whole night, the club?
Well, you know whether or not it was the whole night afterwards or whether or not you're building a relationship with that individual. But something's happening. You're getting her phone number. You're not getting her IG. You're getting her phone number. And then you're calling her from the phone that's on the wall the next day, and you're building a relationship. It's not like dudes had to work back then. And I like that. Things come easy these days.
It was an honorable route, you feel?
Yeah, I love that. It was an honorable route to the quest.
So I feel like clubs, and this is, I don't know about the States, but you talked about bottle service. And in my, again, young 35 years, I started clubbing too young. I was 15. So I saw clubs change from, we used to go.
You went to Florida.
Yeah, of course.
So that was legendary.
We used to go, and it wasn't slow dancing, but we used to getting a chick to dance with you was part of the whole night, you know?
Yes.
So, of course, we're young, 15-year-olds, all of us just started sipping alcohol, you know? So when you go and dance floor, you tap a chick on the back and she dance and you grind and you guys have a good time. You try to get 3, 4, 5. And that was like part of going out. It was very, you left there and you had a story with your boys on the drive home. Like, you guys are like a grind. Now, 5, 6 years after that, the dance floor just got smaller. The bar just got bigger. So it's more about getting drunk and inebriated. So that whole thing around dancing. Now I don't think guys are dancing anymore. Like I feel like people are dancing, but they're just shit-faced grooving. There's not that culture of the quest to get a lady. And sorry to my young Gen Zs, I feel like these guys don't have any game.
None. Zero.
They don't know how to
like
talk
game
to
is
women.
going because they haven't been tried and tested. They haven't had to work for it. Like they don't know the gentleman route. You know, they don't know that route. It's funny talking about the clubs and stuff. Fab and I were talking, and Fab still to this very day knows like all the hot club promoters and stuff like that in New York. And at a time, especially during that shit, I'd say 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, New York, when you talk about clubs, was the king of the world when it came to clubs. Club culture was the biggest thing in New York City and in the world. Club culture now in New York City is horrible. He was telling me how if there was like in 95, let's say 300 clubs in New York, and I'm saying New York City proper, there's probably like 50.
So what are guys doing
now?
now? What are guys doing now?
The same thing they do here. Sitting in their little silos, their little circles in VIP, popping bottles,
Talking
and
shit.
dancing in their little silos. There's no dance. That's why, like here, every party and event I have a dance floor. I used to have a private club inside a moving pick called Love. It was members only. I had it for 2 years. One of my good friends was the manager of Moving Pick, and
That's Westlands.
yeah, he used to be the GM of Tribe. And when my family first came here, we stayed at Tribe for like 2 months before we found a house. So I became really cool.
Hey.
What?
You said I tried for 2 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the company's paying.
You're doing all right, man. 60 days?
Shout out to the Tribe because it's one of my
60
favorite
nights?
hotels. The service there, amazing. The owners, amazing people. But I became really good friends with the GM. And then he went over and went to Move and Pick. And he used to come to my parties. And this is a white dude. And he used to come to my parties here. And he was like, Troy, your crowd is amazing. Like, I want these people to come to Move and Pick. So I was like, yo, show me what you got over there. So he showed me this restaurant that they have there. Not the one at the top that rotates. It's another restaurant that they have inside of Move and Pick. And God's given me this ability to like, I can go into a place. Like when I found my house in Harlem, it was horrible. Like it looked like shit. But I walked in and I literally could see like me having kids grown. And I saw like 50 houses. But this one, when I walked in, I could literally see me having a family because I didn't have a family when I first bought my house. I was a single dude. I could see it. And I was like, as soon as I walked in, I told the broker, I was like, this is my house. She's like, but we haven't seen the rest of it. I was like, this is my house. Move and Pick. Walked into this abandoned restaurant that they had there that they had not used in years. And I walked in and I literally saw people. I saw where the DJ should be at. I saw the disco ball. I saw it, upgraded and everything. And I walked in, I was like, Mike, this is it. Like, this is going to be my private club spot. And it was members only. Like, you couldn't even bring a +1. And I'll show you the little card. We were the first club and only club here that had digital membership cards. And everyone had their own QR code and their own number. So everyone wanted to get the smaller numbers. People would literally be, oh, what's your number? Oh, you're 215. I'm 117, And you had to know me in order to get a membership card. And when you came in, I had beautiful women's. They had iPads there. They would scan your card. Again, no plus ones. But it was beautiful because of the circles that I run in Kenya. It's not just like an elite circle or anything like that. I mean, because of my basketball program, I'm in Kibera, I'm in Mathare, I'm in Umoja, I'm in Comrock, I'm in Eastleigh, you know, and I'm comfortable. You know, shout out to Coach Chester and the FAM program, best basketball, U18 basketball program in all of Africa. But because of that, and because I do events, I know lots of people in lots of different circles. So I would literally have like a politician sitting next to a guy who's the best weed dealer, who's sitting next to a guy who's a graffiti artist, who's sitting next to an Olympic track person, who's sitting next to one of Kenya's dopest accountants, who's sitting next to one of the best models, international models, who's sitting next to the best engineer in Kenya. Like, it was a beautiful, and people could leave their phones on their tables, get up and go to the dance floor, not even return to their table for like an hour or so, phone, bag, purse, everything left there.
Safe.
No one ever got accosted or a woman was treated in any kind of disrespectful manner. No one ever, oh, Troy, your boy grabbed my ass, or Troy, your boy touched my titty. None of that.
Oh, Troy, she touched my car.
It was a bunch of beautiful Kenyans having an unbelievable time, and it was called love. And you know how Kenyans are, I always say Kenyans are conservative on the outside, but on the inside, y'all can get down.
Yeah, 100%.
But on the outside, very much button up.
Even prayerful, man.
You know, very, very button up. When I'm in meetings all the time and I come up with these crazy ass marketing strategies, you know, Kenyans will be, especially like older Kenyans will be like, well, Troy, you know, Kenyans, you know, that's just a little too wild, or that's a little too this, that. You know, we're more conservative. And I always say, when was the last time you were out past 12 o'clock?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I really don't go out. And I'm like, exactly. So I'm out past 12 o'clock.
So you see.
This marketing plan will work.
But with your American accent, your American demeanor, of course, now you're a bit Africanized. Women can tell. And women who want to take advantage of you can tell. So
let's talk about that.
In your first 11 years, because at first I'm sure you were, and I'm going to use a harsh word, a sucker almost. In your first years when it comes to, like I was saying off camera sometime, foreigners take long to adjust to the cultural nuances of differentiating the different tiers of women. So like a hodrat can pass for like a wife material. And because I don't know why you cannot differentiate.
Let me give you something that happened to me I was married, but I was a very good, faithful dude. But my eyes would wander, you know, like if a beautiful woman walked by, I would look at her. So I'm sure you know this club, Black Diamond.
Of course, yes.
And you know, Black Diamond, like 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it was now a retail facility.
No. This still, I was in there like a month ago because I was looking for a spot for an event. I'm saying there's a club now.
After 3 a.m., it became a retail.
Oh, retail in exchange. I like I was slow on that. He was like, "No, I was saying it became a retail." I'm like, "No, it was a club. It's still a club." So I'm sitting there with some of my coworkers from this company EXP that I told you I worked with. And it was like 5 of us, and it was 4 women and me. So this woman walked by, beautiful woman. She had a beautiful blouse on, one of those pencil-shaped skirts that came to her knee, pearls on, and nice heels. And she walked by, and I'm like, wow, she's fine. Okay, and I could appreciate that as a married man, you know. And they were like, she's a hoe. I was like, that's not a hoe. You guys are haters. Y'all are hating like on her. I know my hoe radar is amazing. I know hoes. That's not a hoe. They're like, Troy, she's a hoe. I was like, she's not. And we literally went back and forth. They're like, watch during the course of the night. Maybe she's sitting there. She gets a glass of wine. She's sitting there by herself. And then this really unattractive Indian dude walks in. He literally had like dandruff. He had a black, I never forget this. When he walked by, you could see the dandruff on his black shirt. He was fat, unattractive, the whole bit. He walks over to her, sits down, and then she's all on him. Now, mind you, that might have been true love.
Yeah.
There's a slight possibility that may have been true love. 2% chance. I was like, whoa, she's really a hoe. So my whole radar, yes, I've been here for 11 years, but 5 years, 5 years, I've been single.
Have you been beaten at all?
Have I been what?
Beaten.
I like biting.
No, like close. No, are there any women who've gotten you to like you've ended up paying for like school fees?
Okay, so school fees.
Like putting people through school, hospital bills.
This is getting a little sticky because it's funny. There's this chick make sure I answer this question.
Okay.
Like in December, they did this video. She's a black Kenyan, and I don't want to give her any love, but God bless her. She did this video. Oh no, first it was these Kenyan ladies that did a video on, they did a TikTok or something on, what do you call them?
Passport bros.
Thank you. Passport bros. And because I know some of them.
Is that offensive to you? Passport bro? The term passport?
Because it is what it is. But I'm not a passport bro. I've been living here for 11 years. Like, I'm not a passport bro. I don't travel the world looking for coochie. Like, that, I don't do that shit.
The most famous passport bro in the world, put Cat Cars on the screen. I mean, you know Cat Cars?
Yes.
Hey, Cat Cars has been around the world and
I don't travel for that.
Yeah.
I travel for the experience and energy and meeting and networking and connecting and all that kind of stuff. And that's not why I'm here, to get women. I'm not in Kenya for that. It's a much bigger thing, as I've told you, the things that I've done here and the things that I'm interested in.
So the term passport bro has a connotation of women.
Yeah, it has it. Although lots of guys that call themselves passport bros just like to travel. And women are like kind of like, maybe if there's a priority list of 8 things that they want to happen, women might fall in at 5 or 4.
Or 3.
But then there's some cats that women is the number one reason on why these guys travel.
Okay.
Now, black cats just really started doing this crap. And she posted they did some kind of thing on Passport Bros, and my picture is with some of my guys that are Passport Bros. I'm not one. And these are my young boys that I've literally been like telling them what to do and what not to do, how to maneuver in this city, what not to say, and this and that. Like and these are young guys. So they're just trying to be wild and have a good time. But I'm like, oh,
careful now.
Yeah, like, yo, nah, that shit's not acceptable here or anywhere. And I would literally say, like, guys like Austin and Bobby and dudes like that are smart guys. And I'd probably say they might listen to 70% of the things I tell them. But I didn't even listen to 70% of people, what they were telling me when I was freaking 24, 25.
Absolutely.
You know, so I got lumped into that, and I got a lot of backlash. And then there was this chick who's Kenyan who lives like in Sweden or Amsterdam or one of those places, has a white boyfriend, I just want to say, and did this TikTok about Passport Bros. And then she mentions my name. And she says some crazy shit like, they're only there, Troy, because of the money. And you say you're what did she say? I'm Kanye West's cousin to get women to sleep with you. And she says like all this crazy shit. And she mentions my name. And I'm like, yo, I'm the good dude. I'm the OG. I'm the old guy.
Wait. You're not Kanye West's cousin? That's the only reason you're here, man.
I'm like, yo, why you pick my name and shit? And even my guys that are true passport bros, they were like, I don't know why she messing with you and shit. You're the one that's trying to keep us straight and and advise us and tell us what not to do and all that kind of stuff. So I got and that's how I know the whole Kenyan social media scene, and how I mentioned that in the previous episode that I've been bitten before. Because all of a sudden I even had clients calling me like, yo, Troy, and people sending me this video of this chick mentioning my name, and you're getting another exclusive. People have asked me about this and I've never addressed it. Never. I always say, nah. Because I've just learned, like, you just don't give energy to negative things. But I'm talking about my experience with you, and I've been very open today.
I appreciate it.
And like this woman, then she did another one like a couple months later and mentions my name. And I'm like, why you pick? I'm not even out in these streets like that. I'm very, very, very private.
And she doesn't know you personally?
No, never met this woman. Yo, this shit went so far. I had friends in the States sending me this TikTok clip. Like, this shit went viral like crazy. Like, why is she mentioning your name? Mind you, she's not even my type. Like, I would never date this woman, and nothing against her, even though she's mentioned my name. I wish nothing but good things for you, ma'am. But I'm like, why are you talking about me and shit? Like, I'm not a passport bro. I got foundation, and I'm getting kids off the slums and into schools, and I've started businesses, and there's lots of people making money, because I'm blessed here. So I'm not out in these streets womanizing and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's not my lifestyle. Plus, I'm a germaphobe. I don't like being with a whole bunch of people in that kind of way.
So you're single?
Yeah, I'm single. I enjoy dating here.
Where does single life and all the freedoms that come with measure up with married life?
Wow.
This
is going to be heavy.
Men out here.
No, I'm gonna just say, from a married guy who's divorced, I think marriage is the best thing in the world.
Okay.
I'm a much better person married than single. I think God likes me more when I'm married than single.
Is that a grounding thing? Tethered thing?
Yeah. Marriage, if you do it right, grounds you.
Absolutely.
And you have more priorities.
I was a wild boy before.
You said what?
I was a wild guy.
I could tell.
Yeah.
But you come off very, but I could tell you done some things.
Yeah, marriage has kind of calmed me down. Yeah,
and you have an amazing wife.
Thank you.
Very warm, very nice. Getting a chance to meet her the last time we were here. So you guys make an excellent couple, man.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, now you're blessed. Marriage is a blessing. One day I would like to be married again. I'm the only divorced guy that I know that's interested in getting married again and possibly having another kid or two. Because I'm like, all my divorced friends are like, oh, hell no. I'm going to enjoy life. I'm going to do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. Having kids, no way. Having one woman, no way.
But how does?
But I like having one woman.
How does single life look like at 85, man? You need someone around, I feel. At 85, imagine just waking up solo.
I want to wake up. I've always had this thought, and I had this when I got married, that I want to wake up next to my woman at 100, look up to God and be like, yo, thank you. This has been amazing. And then look over at my wife and be like, yo, this ride has been unbelievable. And then have sex. on my 100th birthday. That's what I've dreamed about that. Like, that's like probably one of my number one wishes is to wake up at 100 and healthy and be able to thank God and Jesus and then look over at my wife and have sex.
You couldn't have said it better. I'm gonna end it there, and I'm gonna end it with a clip of. There's a clip I ran into this week of. So it's an old couple, very old. Maybe the guy is like 95, and maybe the lady is like 80 or 83. So of course, with time, he's gotten weaker physically. And he's accusing her of cheating, and he's trying to like beat her up, and she's like holding her own, and so she whoops him, and at some point he's on a chair, and like the video ends with him saying, "Man, have I gotten this? How much smaller have I gotten?" he couldn't believe, like. And I'll send you that clip, Bernard. You can put it here, but I'm gonna end it on that note. I think.
Eric, can I say one thing?
Sure.
Because when you say women beating, or they got into a fight, I wanted to say this. When you're in my situation of trying to bring Africans of the diaspora here, you're always going to get some bad seeds. It's in any culture, any people, any race, any tribe, it's going to be 90% good people, 10% bad people. It's just how the way of the world is. I have this rule that I've taught my son. I've taught hundreds of young men. There's only one rule. And I when you said that, I was like, I want to say this in the public because I've never said it on air. There's only, and some guys might get mad at me for saying this, there's only 2 reasons to ever hit a woman. She pulls a gun on you or a knife, and you're only supposed to hit her once. Then you grab the weapon and then you leave. She could call you a little dick motherfucker. You could catch her having sex with your father or your best friend and having an orgy. She could throw shit at you. She can hit you, scratch you. Women are sharp with the tongue, so they can make you feel really bad.
That's why she couldn't get it up last night.
But God has made us bigger and stronger.
For a reason.
So we can take a hit or a slap. Some people might say, oh, he's simping or this and that. If my woman hit me, I'm beating the shit. Nah, dude. Nah, I don't believe in that. Like, and I've been hit. I've been slapped. I've been scratched, kicked, called all kinds of things, but I've never, ever put my hands on a woman.
Me neither.
And I try to teach these young cats like, yo, I don't care what the freak she did. You can't touch her in a violent way. There's American guy who's, I don't want to mention his name and I don't want you to mention his name because I don't want him to get any fame. But just recently, came here, hired a prostitute to have sex with him. And
who was recording?
Who what?
Who was recording?
No, he had his phone was recording all this. He didn't have anybody.
But that incriminated him.
Dumbass. Like I told you, there's lots of dumbasses out here.
Because it made me scared about like Airbnb. I'm like, are these guys recording bedrooms?
Yeah. Nah. It was his. He was a dumbass.
Oh my God.
So everybody's got some dumbasses in their communities. He's one of our dumbasses. And then the chick was supposed to have sex with him on his video, and he paid her for it. Then when it was time to do the shit, she didn't want to do it. He got mad. And instead of just being like, all right, babe, cool. Listen, let me get your Uber and have a nice evening. He kept on pushing the thing. Then he like scuffled with her. I don't know if he physically hit her, but you could kind of hear some shit going on. And then he released the video and put it on social media. Like, what the freak? So literally, and I will say this, and this is for... there was a bunch of people who got on a chat, American black guys that are here, that were like, on sight, he's getting his ass beat. On sight. Because none of us do that.
You're ruining it.
None of us do that.
Spoiling the name.
We're gentlemen. Some a little wilder gentlemen, but still, we don't get down like that. And you're making all of us look bad. You know, and literally, and the thing that I don't like, and I'm willing to battle and go against any Kenyan on this. It's like 50 single American black guys here enjoying life. There's thousands of others who are here who've been doing way worse shit.
Polish.
Way worse shit. I don't know anybody that gets into some of the shit that I don't even want to get into that happens here in this country with certain foreigners and stuff that go to the coast and do things and stuff.
I've seen them walking on the beach publicly. I'm like, yo.
Cats
arrest
that I know
that guy.
that come here other than that one prick that came here and did that. None of us get into that into any of that weird shit or abusive stuff. Some of them may like lots of women and date lots of women, but they're freaking 25. Shoot, when I was 25 years old, I dated lots of women. I was never faithful until I was married. Never in any relationship was I ever faithful until I got married. To you guys that aren't faithful, that just shows you that you can be faithful. And to women who think that all men are trash, I was trash. I was coming up in my teens and 20s up until 35. Actually, up until 33 because I got married at 35. Thank you, Louis Farrakhan, for helping me on that. I went to the Million Man March. This was my coming of age. I was living a really wild life. But I've always wanted to have a family. And like I told you, I like to gamble. I love women. I was cheating in every relationship I was in. And I went to the Million Man March. And the one thing that I got from that march, first of all, that was the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful, next to my marriage and my kids being born, the Million Man March was in my top 5 most emotional, life-changing things in my life. To see over 1 million black men from around the country gather, and it was beautiful. So the one thing that Farrakhan said, he said, to all my brothers, is that a good Farrakhan imitation, who are out there using our sisters like seminal deposits, you were just as bad as the white man who has raped them for hundreds of years. Now, this is, I always tell you, the devil on the left, God on the right. Devil says, you don't use women as seminal deposits, you use condoms.
Oh, man.
So he's not talking to you. And then God was like, all God said was, you know what he's saying. You use women. And I was like, and I felt so low because I love my people and I love black women and I look at them as queens. And I was like, dude, you ain't shit. And I literally beat myself up. And then I went through a whole transformation of reading some really in-depth books on, like Anthony Broder is one of my favorite writers. And he wrote this book. I forgot that maybe is it ISIS Papers? I think that's the title of the book. But it literally talks about Africans, black people, and our spirituality. And I went through a whole cleansing phase of, like, I learned that during like the winter solstice is like the best time to like cleanse yourself, your body, your spirit, everything. And I was wild. And I was like, if I continue down this road, I'm not going to be a great family man when I get married. I'm not going to be a good father. I'm not going to be a good person. So I literally went through, my girlfriend at the time caught me cheating for like the 5th time. And I loved her, which is crazy.
How are you getting caught without a mobile phone?
Yeah, it was crazy back then. Yeah.
No, for real.
And she said this key thing to me. She's like, Troy, you don't know yourself. She said, you don't like yourself. And I was like, what do you mean I don't know and I don't like myself? I love myself. But days later, I thought about it Because she said, you're never by yourself. You're always with either me, your family, your friends, or your workmates. You're uncomfortable with yourself. And I was offended when she said that crap. So in the midst of me reading this stuff, I was like, and it was right during the holidays in New York. And New York's on fire. Everybody's having parties. It's 10 parties a night. You know, you're just going from party to party to party. I was like, let me see if I can like not go to any parties and stay in my apartment this on my own. Dude, for the first couple days, I felt like a crackhead. I was like, and I realized I did have a problem and an issue being by myself. And once I realized it, I was like, oh shit, we got to ride this out. We got to get this shit out. So literally, dude, for like 3 weeks up until Christmas, I didn't have anyone over in my apartment. I didn't go anywhere because we were off. Like in the music industry, after Thanksgiving, the music industry shuts down and you still get paid, which is beautiful. And it doesn't count as your vacation time, at least back then. You're off for like 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks.
With a nice bag.
Yeah, nice. Got your bonus check. Everything is beautiful. I literally stayed in my house and I read the Bible every day. I worked out and I didn't do anything. And I cooked food. And no, when I cooked food, I ate nothing but vegetables and fruits. And I blended them. And I read a lot. And it changed my life. From the Million Man March to me doing that cleansing, doing the winter solstice, and reading the Bible, I literally changed.
I was being conscious.
Yeah. Because I knew I had to change.
How old were you?
33, 34.
My age.
Because I met my ex when I was like 34. No, I met her at 33. Because we got married when I was like 35, 36. But it shows you how God has things in order. I went through that, and then I met her, and I was a much better person. And I was able to be like, okay, this is a woman that you want to marry, so you have to approach her in a different way. You have to be loyal, because God's brought her to you. I didn't look at her as just a hot chick and I like her and all that kind of stuff. I was like, God brought her to you.
And my final question.
Hold on, can I give you one secret on how he brought it to me?
Sure.
One of my boys, and it shows you how the word can come through people who don't even really go to church a lot. One of my boys, I should be nameless because I just said he doesn't go to church and all that kind of stuff, said to me, he was like, yo, and it just came out of the blue. He's like, yo, write on the 3x5 card every aspect that you want in a woman. Pray on it and stick it in the Bible. Don't lie. So if you like a fat booty, put that down. So I wrote like about 9 or 10 qualities along with a fat booty on this 3x5 card. Prayed on it, put it in my Bible. I met my ex 4 months later. Mind you, this is all during my transformation. About 4 months later, 2 months into us dating, I realized that she had every characteristic that I had asked for. Every last one of them. And from that point on, I treated her different than any woman that I'd ever been with. Because I was like, whoa, God brought her.
Respect.
So this is different. Like, she ain't the chick you met in the club. And this is different. So you got to treat her totally different. So from that point on, I stopped seeing other women and I solely committed to her. And that was the first time I was ever loyal in a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship. And then we got married 2 years later and had 2 beautiful, unbelievably blessed kids. But yeah, that was my transformation. And I think all of us, as you grow, even now I'm going through a transformation at 60. Like, you should always grow
and evolve.
Like, I think I don't know shit.
And that's what I wanted to ask you finally, because you're almost twice my age. What would you tell, knowing everything you know now, your 35-year-old self? What 2 pieces of advice would you give based on what you've gathered at 60?
Through my experience in watching people and have friends that have traveled all kinds of different pathways, I've noticed that the ones that have the best lives, and I'm not just saying in regards to money, I'm saying in regards to happiness, are the ones that got their shit together earlier, got married early, in their 20s, saved money, had a family early, built their careers early. They didn't waste money spending it in clubs and taking trips and doing this and all that kind of stuff. They built wealth together at an early age. So like my son is 25. I love the fact that he looks exactly like me and he has my energy, but he's way freaking smarter. And he's a loyal dude. So he's got a girlfriend and he's literally telling me like, yeah, I was out and this chick hit on me. And I love the fact that he's able, when his girlfriend's not around, to say no to other women. Like I see him possibly doing something like that, like getting married early and building wealth with one woman and having a beautiful, blessed family. I would say it's key to do that early. I had God in my life by the time I decided to get married. So that's nothing I would say that I would want you to do at 35 because you already got it. And you're already married, So I got married late. I wasted a lot of money in my 20s, partying and doing dumb shit that has no relevance. Understand this. Some days, some years, you're the life of the freaking party. You're the freaking man. Don't ever get caught up in that feeling. It's very addictive.
Being the life of
very freaking addictive. To be like, Cause one day all that shit leaves. And what do you do when everything's quiet and you by yourself and no one's saying your name and no one's patting you on the back? That happens to everyone. Life is like this. It's like a roller coaster. I firmly believe that, and this helped me get through my divorce, because I was literally I don't like using that D word. I felt down after my divorce for a couple years. I felt bad about myself because I felt like I was a man and I believe that men should hold their families together. No matter what you go through, you hold that shit together. No matter what happens, it's you that has to do that. So I felt really bad. I felt like a failure that I was unable to keep my marriage together. So I beat the shit out of myself for years. And because I was beating the shit out of myself.
How did it manifest? Are you drinking? What are you doing?
Nah, I've never been I drink. I love liquor, but I don't drink a lot of it. What I was doing wrong was I was finding pleasure, and this is kind of deep. I was just finding pleasure in women. And then I have rules. I think every man should have rules about dating. I started breaking some of my rules. We're not going to talk about my rules. But I started breaking them. Once I started breaking my rules and breaking them consistently, I was like, one day, I'm always psychoanalyzing myself like a computer. And I was like, dude, why are you breaking your rules? And I don't need to sit down with a shrink or a psychiatrist or anything like that to figure out my issues. I'm really good at being hard on myself and analyzing my actions. And I was like, whoa, you're hurt. You're trying to find the best way to feel good, to feel like a man, to feel wanted, to feel desired.
Validation, yeah.
To feel validation. And you're out here on the streets. This is what you're doing to make yourself, but it's not healing you because you're still in the same spot. You still feel bad. You're hurting. Once I realized that, I was like, whoa, all right, we got to change up the game plan now and start instituting your rules and sticking to your rules. So I'm not on the street. I got a pinky toe in the street, but I ain't on the street. But that once I came to that realization, I changed my ways.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep and some sound advice for me even.
Oh, bruh, it's a blessing. People taught me a lot of stuff. God's put a lot of people in me, around me, to teach me a lot of amazing things. And I am here to do the good and bad, to be vulnerable, talk about my testimonies, so that maybe if 10,000 people, 15, 25, 100,000 people watch this, if it affects one person's life, then I did what I was supposed to do. And thank you, God, for putting me in that position. And thank you, God, for allowing me to make it through the trials and tribulations so I can talk about, my experience and testimony.
Ladies and gentlemen, Troy White, man. That was impactful.
Again.
That was impactful. Thank you so much. We've made magic twice.
Never make me cry again.
No, thank you so much. I really enjoyed that part too as well, man. That was deep. We deep dived even more.
Wow.
That was nice.
Nah,
Thanks for the
you.
vulnerability.
Blessings, E. This is beautiful. Love Kenya. God bless you guys. And thank you for allowing me to be in this unbelievable country. It is the best country, the best city, and the best people in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, every other time with Eric, Troy White, amazing episode. If you haven't subscribed, you're slacking. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell, tell a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap.